So this is the immigration post. I just got attacked. These two white guys came running, another guy followed them and was jumping on my property. As I was going into the bathroom, the janitor was staring at me. That was one of the janitors they used to scare me away. Sometimes they tell me the bathroom's closed. Anytime I go there, they say they're closing the bathroom out. And I was listening to this Hebrew in the morning, the Black American radio show. It also incites one against me. They say you've gone too far, you've gone too far. I usually don't come this far. I use the bathroom at South Surrey, Staten Surrey, downtown. This is 31st Street, this is where the immigration enforcement is. So they're inciting all kinds of attacks against me, saying crazy, crazy. So what they normally do is that they lock you up here. They either take you to immigration prison or go and lock you up in Bellevue Hospital where my mother's daughter's treatment international. So they're telling US citizens to attack me. So this has to be investigated. The police cameras recording it. But this is an international border with Canada, where you can take trains to Canada and Mexico. So FIFA is not supposed to walk up here. The World Cup participants and the fans will be traveling on the train. The train stops there. The Amtrak train to Canada and Mexico, 34th Street, train station, and the other stop is Port Authority where the bus to Canada and Mexico stop. And they're attacking in both places. For the police on me. So they try to intimidate me, try to get me angry. I don't like people bumping into me. Some people want to lie that they got dead bugs from rubbing their body and the stuff. They said during the Olympics in Paris 2024, they said people were saying they were getting bed bugs getting close to other people's luggage. So I don't know why they form like an extortion gang to be rubbing their body on my stuff. This is why I cover myself with white sheet. The color doesn't really matter. Just you know. So I think it's an extortion gang, and they've been threatening me that I'm going to get deported or killed. So I don't want to be killed or deported. And any money, any asset I may potentially have, because I'm trying to sue Bellevue Hospital. In 2015, they killed my mother there because my mother's daughters were born in America was framing mental illness of my mother, and that got my mother so angry. While she was getting treated for heart disease there, they said she died instantly. She was so shocked. Her daughters would lie on her that she's crazy, she needs to be locked up and wait forever. My mother's address were just trying to extort her and steal whatever property she has left, and cause her to die early and sue the city of New York for the death. They say people do that a lot. It's called ghetto lottery. When you try to extort the city of New York City, they cause somebody to do harm and just make up lies. Because the police took me and my mother's home in 2010. The NYPD took me and my mother's home in 2010 on Staten Island. So since then, me and my mother was suffering, and she has a heart problem. She couldn't travel abroad. She wanted to go to do surgery in Israel, and she told the judge that because she informed the judge that the police has taken her home. So the judge were trying to kill her early and blame it on the city of New York taking her home and saying, she could have done surgery already in Israel, but the police took her home. So that was why they were inciting panic against her and lying on her, saying she's crazy. And my mother's daughter took my mother's corpse away when I wanted to do an autopsy because my mother was saying they were also poisoning her food in Pennsylvania where they live. My mother wanted to live with them. So they were poisoning her food with, like, especially that Balanle, with like narcotics. They say she's into narcotics, like synthetic marijuana or like anti-freeze car fluid. And they came and snatched my mother's body because my mother came back to New York because she was poisoning her food and stuff, and she was having heart pain, so she went to Bellevue Hospital to treat it, and they came here to New York from Pennsylvania. And lied on her that she was crazy, just to get her to die early. And they said my mother died on the spot. She was so angry when the doctor said they were going to move her to the site ward to check her, even though she had passed the mental hospital. So that got her angry. She died right away. So since then, I think that some of these racists, they tried to get me angry also because my father died of a cardiovascular illness also. So I had that in my family whereby we suffer from stroke and heart disease. So they tried to get me to die early also. But angering me, and this Black American guy, Hebrew in the morning, I believe it's part of the people. It's like black power person, and some Black Americans don't like Africans like me. They say we saw their ancestors slavery. I think that you may just be trying to kill me early and to make fake claims about me. They say another claim they can make is if you're dead, claim they're your surrogates and that they paid you money while you're alive. And they want to extract your sperm. I'm a transsexual and critical. And he was talking about it this morning. That, the American scientists have just brought back a werewolf. I said, we're going to bring Tupac back. Somebody called me Tupac. Tupac was a Black American rapper who was killed by their hip hop, but he was an anti-police activist. So because I sued the police for taking my home and they went and killed everyone, so they called me Tupac. So this guy may know something about the attack I'm going through. These people in the morning guy. Anytime I say anything about him before I post it online, the message got deleted. So it has happened. I don't know what connection he has with the U.S. government, but for some of the hip hop knew about the U.S. government. And there's this rapper also called Fabulous. Sometimes I see him on the street. I used to follow him, but but it was like, I would say hi to him, we would say hi back. But I said, what's I keep seeing this guy, and this is some of the hip hop people would entice you to follow them, and they will harm you and claim, you wanted to be harmed. They say this kid was accused of doing that. He would entice his fans, he would go near his fans, entice them to follow him, and when they follow him, they will harm them and claim they wanted to them. Allegedly, I don't know if it's true. And I said after they harm you, they can then claim anything. They can claim, you donated your stamp to them, and they will take care of your baby for you, and all the money from the NYPD taking your home to go to them and your baby that they're taking care of. So this guy was talking about they're going to bring Tupac back, because now they say the U.S. scientists are doing cloning. I don't want to be cloned by anybody. I don't sign an agreement for anybody to take my son and create a baby. Yeah, I do time handle for money, but it's not for surrogacy purposes. I'm not the prostitute to nobody. And they say, if you have star power in this country, even the judges can rule in your favor. Since the U.S. government also doesn't like me. I was arrested by U.S. immigration in 2000 when my mother brought me, even though I had a green card in my passport. They lied I didn't have a green card. But my A number is 7795462. And if people do they call it a query of my immigration records, it's called a FOIA, Freedom of Information Act. It's a federal law. You can get anybody's public record, and they will show you that when they took my passport from me, they took photocopies of it, and I had a green card stamp on my passport. It's called an I-551. And the U.S. immigration law, I didn't have to. I arrived in the U.S. without a visa, and that's why they were putting me under arrest. Even though there was a green card stamp on my passport. And my mother I spent 8 years in immigration court. My mother spent $10,000. Even though she couldn't afford it, she was working for $4 an hour at the home market. So because of that, we couldn't buy a house. So we're always getting evicted by the NYPD everywhere. They will claim our apartment is illegal because we normally stay in basement apartment. And even though it's against the law for them to evict us without a quarter, that the NYPD was just evicting us everywhere, landlord would treat us terribly. So my mother's daughters killed her early so they can blame everything on the city and they can win money for themselves. And I believe them to be part of some of this hip-hop gang and narcotic gang who hope to share the money. So they taught me, and it's called ghetto lottery. When you got the city of government officials to hurt somebody, and you set that person up, and extort the government. And I think that the government may also want to be a willing participant, because I'm also trying to sue the U.S. immigration that when they stole my money, my mother sent them money also for my green card to be approved again, and they took that money and didn't process my green card and lied. When my mother wrote a letter to Hillary Clinton to help her investigate, they lied to Hillary Clinton that they didn't get the money, and then they returned some of the money back later, like years later. So my mother, thought I was the one that stole the money. So my mother was very angry with me all her life. Because she gave me money to give to the U.S. immigration, like almost $1,500 to apply for a new green card, because they stole the green card I had in 2000. And the U.S. immigration took that money and didn't return it. And my mother already had a health problem at that time. And we sent them the medical papers to my mother that my mother has a health problem. They approved my new green card child. And they stole the money and lied to Hillary Clinton that they didn't get no money. So everything is in my immigration file. The letter Hillary Clinton wrote to the letter that Hillary Clinton wrote to the U.S. immigration where they had denied ever getting any money from me. And they returned the money years later, some of it, so they helped kill my mother because they're stealing that money. Really affected my mother. So I'm trying to sue the U.S. immigration. So whenever, some of them could go to prison for the death of my mother. It's called being an accessory to a murder. But my mother's daughters would have never been able to kill my mother if the U.S. immigration didn't steal my money, or I would have been able to have a green card earlier, and I would be able to go to college and get a college degree, because I was very good in school, but I couldn't continue school due to not having my immigration papers. And so I had to drop out of school, and I was getting 4.0 GPA as a full-time college student here in America. So this is what is going on. So the international community needs to investigate the U.S. government and their hip-hop for human trafficking. Human trafficking is when you try to illegally deport an immigrant or exploit that immigrant. And I've been trying to get to the shelter for you for domestic abuse victims because when my mother's daughters, they also called the police on me when my mother kidnapped me or took me to go with her to Pennsylvania and dropped me off in Pennsylvania with them. And they called the police on me. One of them hit me with a car. And they said, I was attacking them. And they were trying to get the police in Pittsburgh to kill me. This was in 2001. I just came to America with my mother in 2000. So I didn't really know how the system here works. And the police arrived in Pittsburgh and they took me to the hospital, mental health, and they had me there for many days based on my mother's daughter's life. So I was telling the hospital I need to come back to New York because I have an immigration case in New York. And my mother's daughter lied to the hospital, Mercy Hospital, that I don't have any immigration case. I'm just delusional making stuff. So I had to call my lawyer in New York, Di Pietro, who called the hospital and told them that I have an immigration case. That's when the hospital released me. And they never bothered to get the police to arrest my mother's daughter for filing a fake police report. At that time, Diallo had just been killed. So my mother's daughter was very interested in that case and she was trying to get me killed at Diallo. So in 2014, Erigana was killed. And my mother said that brother was very interested in cases like that. And but a year later, she got my mother killed also. To make it look, Erigana was trying to help me with my puppy, but when the police went and beat him to death. So that balance, she gambles, and she's always been out of control. My mother uh, sent her to a white family in 1989 and 1990 because my mother took her to Nigeria and she was beating up. My mother said she doesn't like Nigeria. So my mother sent them to live with the white family, she and her other sister Flora. And as soon as they got to America, they beat up the white family in Pennsylvania and the white family had them arrested. So she's always been out of control, that blindly, and I believe she's part of the narcotic gang. And some of them is doing hip hop. So these hip hop guys, some of them follow me around and try to look like I'm like that, my body or whatever. I guess to make it easier, if I'm killed, she said they give me money and they need my stamp. And these people guys talking about, oh, we're going to start cloning people soon. Tupac. Tupac is probably going to come back after clone. So they always call me Tupac, which is a dead Black America. So they use dead people to refer to me. This is like a genocidal hip hop gun. This is investigate this program. And before I got attacked, I was talking about it. They're crazy. You went too far. Normally I don't come here. I stay lower my hand by South Ferry area to use the bathroom. And we do some Black Americans to attack me there, some transgender Black Americans. So it's like the hip hop are trying to set me up to be killed and create a confusion. It's always a cold case. There's many participants participate in a murder, and there's always so many people to blame, so they won't know who did it exactly. But under the law, they can all be charged as co-conspirators. They don't have to know the exact person who did it, but they all have the interest in getting me killed and getting money. And also, it's radio host partner went and got married on my birthday, July 8th. And so I don't know what that means. If they're going to claim, to approve them to go and get married and create a baby for me. This is some gay people do that. They hire straight people to help them birth a baby. But I'm not interested in having a baby. I'm homeless on the street. What would I put a baby? All my two hands is used to stolen. So it's a dead man tell no tales or dead woman tell no tales. So they say you can lie about a dead person after they die. So I don't know why these guys are talking. And sometimes I see him and his radio host, Dan Rosenberg, I saw him also. I don't know why they keep coming around me. And his radio host went and got married on July 8th. That's my birthday. So I don't have anything going on with these people. Sometimes I send them messages to borrow me money, but they never borrow me any money. At that time, this people was doing a giveaway. I think that's to learn me. Saying anybody that needs money should call his radio station. And I'll call, they won't give me money, they'll go to Black America. And after that, I start seeing them on the street. And I don't know what that is about. So I said they try to play like you are the one chasing them, they're not chasing you. And you wanted it more than they did. And they make it look like they are the victim. It's so weird. They say that PDD brought that kind of extortion scheme, allegedly, whereby it will kidnap his fans on the street and claim it will sexually abuse them and claim they are obliged, they agreed, they were just a groupie. So they're trying to make me look like a groupie. They say they can. So this surplus guy has been following me around. I was checking his page. I was checking it on my way here on Instagram. I did a screenshot because he was checking the picture of his leg. And sometimes it will be coming around me a lot. So I'm like, oh, I said, I hope it's not going to stop coming around me again. So these people guys were saying, we're back again. So I think it's referencing that fabulous guy that may be stalking me also. So they're stalking me and stuff. I don't know if it's to kill me and claim I gave them authority to take my sperm at my death and create a baby. But these people are saying they're going to start cloning people soon. So Tupac is going to come back. They sometimes refer to us, Tupac. And so the child is jumping, and so one of the things my pet peeve is people rubbing their body on my stuff. Especially since last year during the Olympics, they said people were claiming they were getting bed bugs from such Olympic luggages during the Paris Olympics in Paris and at the airport. So I always try to prevent them from coming on my stuff. Which is not even right. So I was standing here. This camera may have took it off just because this camera. I know they have some other cameras I may not even know about. Yeah, this camera took it. So please, the New York State Attorney General Letitia James has to investigate this. And because I believe this Eric Adams and Trump collaboration is meant to, and they said that a lot of people are alleging that this Trump also, the tariffs is some kind of an insider trading scheme that is causing the U.S. stock market to crash, and they may be telling its bodies to be selling their stock early to cash in. So they can buy it back low. So they say all these problems causing with immigrants may be for his body to cash in. And I always criticize this country a lot, and people that tell like CIA agents, they started fighting me everywhere. I was at the library yesterday, and one of them didn't want me to use the library, was calling me idiot, and the librarian told me they had to register me into the computer, which normally you should be able to sign up for the computer yourself. But say, oh, that's the new method they're using now. And they didn't sign me in. And this person, and they all kept me waiting. So after I waited for almost an hour, I told them, look, you told me I was going to get to use the computer in 15 minutes. And they said that one of the person who's calling me on the computer started calling me idiot. And they called the police on me. So I don't know what that is about. And the person had a bag on the table said, chaos, chaos. And the person was staring at me. So it's like they might be an undercover CIA agent. Because they say as a president, if you criticize them, you can send his federal agent after you. And his immigration secretary has been saying, you immigrants, you better leave, before we find you and remove you. So I think that they're just trying to force me out of the country because I'm exposed this Trump a lot for some other things I mentioned in my other YouTube post. So this was going on.